All right, coming at you with another tier list video. So this time we're focused on support. I've been actually made one of these videos before, so pretty exciting. Again, focusing on the low ELO, so bronze, silver, and gold. We've created tier lists based on champion win percentages. And let's go ahead and jump into some of the details. So just to reiterate, all the data from this tier list comes from op.gg. We looked at patch 25.S1.4 or 15.4. Utilize global win rates, so not just NA, but essentially all the regions, and a very healthy amount of games. So 4.2 million games from bronze, 4.9 from silver, 4.5 from gold. And we essentially pulled all that data, sorted all of the champions by win rate, and then kind of just looked at the results. Been kind of hesitating, honestly, to make this video, mainly because wasn't too happy with what I was seeing, but I don't know. The data is what it is. Can't change it. So let's go ahead and look at the tier list. So here you go. Obviously, you can see the highest win rate support in these low ELOs is Teemo. Was not happy to report that. But like I said, the data is what it is. So just quickly to run through this tier list, you can see I've sorted it by win rate. Again, S equating to champions that have over a 52% win rate, A 52 to 51.5, 51.5 to 51 is B, C rounds out champions that are slightly over 50%, and then we have the D, E, and X list, which are champions that have win rates below 50%, 49 to 48 for E, and below 48% for that X and final category. So what do we see just looking at this overall? So holistically, I would say maybe some of the champions that we're seeing in terms of similar skills and things like that are, we do see a good amount of mage supports that are doing decently well. So the likes of Brand, Vel'Koz, Zyra, Sona, that can deal a good amount of damage as well. And then we're seeing some good amount of shielding, healing, and just kind of poke. So again, Sona falls into that. Taric has some shielding and healing. Nami, Melio, Soraka, Morgana, Janna, Zillion, Braum even, with the shielding. So that seems to be something kind of that might make sense. And then I guess we can't beat around the bush, but some stealth seems to help. So, Teemo, Shaco, Fiddlesticks being there as well provides something different, I guess, than your classic supports, I suppose. And then moving to kind of champs that are maybe struggling a little bit, I'd say I'm somewhat surprised, but champions like Blitzcrank, Rakan, Nautilus, Seraphine being down there is quite surprising for me, mainly because they have such strong kits, in my opinion, in terms of keeping your carry alive. But I guess in these lower elos, you're essentially putting a huge amount of reliance on your AD carry, or sorry, AD AP carry itself, and so you might not be able to change the game if they're, if they fall behind. So potentially that's what it is. And then Pike is down there as well, which is a pretty popular pick. So that's somewhat surprising, but I can see it. When Pike falls behind, it's really hard to play the game or even have an impact. You're really squishy, can't really establish vision, and very rarely just carry the game by yourself if everyone else falls behind. Meanwhile, a lot of the upper half champs provide a lot of utility that likely helps at any game state. Let's see what else. What else might be we able to kind of look at? Yeah, I think that might essentially be it in terms of looking at the tier list itself. Let's move on to the champs that are really excelling in this last patch. So, as I mentioned, Teemo, Fiddlesticks, Zyra, Taric, and Sona. Let's kind of dive in and see if we can figure out why Teemo might be doing so well. So one thing is he does have the ability to continuously poke. The blind is likely debilitating to any AD carry that relies on auto attacking. If you think about how devastating that is to a Jhin player, having a blind on even one of those bullets is just, it's huge. I mean, your damage output is limited to 4 bullets, and one of those not being able to hit is pretty significant. Additionally, I think he can set up some traps around objectives that gives a good amount of objective control and passive vision. So that likely helps quite a bit. Again, I don't like pushing Teemo on people, mainly because he's such an annoying character, but the win rates are what they are. Fiddlesticks, probably similar kind of things where you can have vision and things like that. Your ultimate is pretty significant, especially around objective fights where it can completely turn the tide of a battle, similar to Taric's ultimate, similar to Zyra's ultimate. Sona likely just helps with massive amounts of sustain, can deal a good amount of damage, and has a fairly impactful ultimate if you can land it on a significant target. So yeah, that rounds out kind of the top champions. Some champions to avoid. Mel, I actually haven't necessarily seen her in the support class too often. I do see some Vegars, and the main thing to remember is he does require farm. You do need to actually scale, and you're not able to as a support. So you're purely relying on your cage to have an impact, and that is pretty one-dimensional. Ashe, again, you can probably give a good amount of poke and have an impactful ult, along with providing a good amount of vision. So there are some benefits, but at least from looking at the way the win percentages are, these are the champions that are below 47%. So likely look elsewhere if you're looking to climb as a support. So there you have it. Some things I did want to just quickly highlight, looking at the tier list again, is that Brand and Morgana, as you get closer to gold, their win rates do drop compared to their performances in bronze and silver. And then Soraka's actually shoots up in gold, while it's kind of lower in bronze and silver. So just something to think about, that likely as you get more skillful with Soraka, you likely have more impact on the game and are able to perform better. Same goes for Janna as well. Tends to perform better on the higher ELOs, but likely that's just skill gap and knowing how to position yourself, how to effectively heal your teammates, knowing when to use your ultimates, things like that. So likely they are slightly harder champions to master, but it could be rewarding if you are nearing gold and climbing even higher than that. So that pretty much sums up the support video. Again, I was kind of hesitating to make this mainly because of the news of Teemo, but as I always say, use the data as a tool, and yeah, good luck on your climb, guys. Take it easy.